Well, good evening, folks, or good morning, good afternoon, good night, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. Quincy Kane here, and this is live stream number 80, if I'm counting correctly. I lose count on these things. And for this evening's stream, we are going to be doing a tier list. This is the first time I'm doing a tier list. Again, I'm trying to do some different segments for these live streams, and so for this particular one, we're trying a tier list. For those of you who don't know what that is, you'll see in a moment, but we're basically just ranking things from best to worst. And for this topic, we're going to go with animated films. So any animated film, we're going to pick some of our favorites. We're going to pick some of the ones that maybe we didn't enjoy quite so much, and we're going to rank them and going to kind of let you guys make suggestions, and we'll kind of vote and sort of see where they rank. So we'll get into that in a little bit, but we're going to, while we're waiting for more people to show up, I'm going to go ahead and play a song for you guys. But go ahead and leave some suggestions. What are some of your favorite animated films? And maybe we'll get into some rough ones later. But right now, we'll start with the fun ones. What are some of your favorite animated films? So, JK, good to have you in the chat. I don't know if you want to go by JK or if there's another name you'd like me to call you. Just let me know if you'd prefer me to call you by your first name or if JK is cool with you. Stan, always good to have you in the chat. Let me know some of your favorite animated films. And in the meantime, I'll go ahead and play a song for you guys. This one's called A Place to Call Home. Prison inside of me, concealing what I believe. The potential is obvious, but I'm too scared to set it free. Break down the walls, show me your heart. This is the place where I fall apart. You told me place to call home, someplace where I do not feel alone. I'm promised a destiny, but I won't trust what I cannot see. Some mother will tuck me in to this coffin and bury me. Break down the walls, show me your heart. This is the place where I fall apart. You told me a place to call home, someplace where I do not feel alone. You showed me call home. Call home, someplace where I not feel alone. You should me love like I never known. You told me of a place to call home. Thank you. Again, that song's called A Place to Call Home, and that one is available on streaming. So you can find that on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you like to listen to music. That song is available there. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Yep, catching up with the chat here. All right, JK is Jack. Cool. Nice to meet you, Jack. Not sure if you've, sorry if I'm forgetting if you've participated in these streams before, but always enjoy having new users or ones who don't always show up. Jack says, never forgave. I think it was Toy Story 2 for making me tear up. Yeah, Toy Story. A lot of those Toy Story movies have some tear-jerking moments. I remember the third one. Third one's pretty sad too. So that's just kind of what Pixar does. Pixar is they know how to tug at the heartstrings. So yeah, Toy Story's been a pretty consistent series. That like all the Toy Story movies are very good. Stanley says, "Nice one out of the gate." Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that, Stan. Let's see here, and thank you. Appreciate the good feedback. I listen right here. Yep. Thanks, Stan. All right, awesome. Well, I tell you what, we got since we have a little bit of action happening in the chat. I think we're going to go ahead and dive into the get started with the tier list. Anyone else who's joining us, don't be shy. Say hello, and yeah, we're going to go ahead and dive into our tier list segment here. So this is my first time doing this, so you'll have to forgive me if things are a little rough. But hey, that's just how it goes. You got to try something. You always got to try something for the first time and kind of get through the rough patches and sort of learn. So hopefully these will get better as they go along. But here we go. So you guys should be able to see the tier list now. And there we go. I brought up a small window, so kind of changed the layout a little bit so that you guys could see the list nice and big, and then I'm kind of in the corner here. So just to explain. For anyone who doesn't know what a tier list is, I mean, they're pretty popular, and they actually are kind of fun. But basically, at the top, we have S. S is for, like, anything that is superior, just everything that's, like, perfect, that's like a classic, whatever, the best of the best, that's S tier. S tier is, that's where you rank all the really good stuff. And then after that, basically, it progressively gets, lesser and lesser quality there. A is like, really good. B is like solid, like worthwhile. C is a little like maybe kind of generic, kind of, not necessarily bad, but just sort of nothing spectacular about it. And then after that, it's just kind of degrees of, how poorly done something was. F tier is obviously like the worst one. Yep, Stan saying up. Now real quick, I think we'll be okay with titles and stuff, but it might be good to use quotation marks for titles because especially for a title like up, it's like, what's up, what's up, but yeah, up was a good one. I will say, we'll actually, maybe we'll rank that one first. Now I will say, as far as ranking goes, so I want this to be very interactive, so I definitely want suggestions from you guys. I'll share some of my suggestions as well. But I think the way we're going to do this, since I'm kind of heading this up, I'm going to be sort of the final say, but I do want you guys to kind of cast your vote as well. Like, where would you rank something? But I think ultimately I'll sort of decide where it positions. So, because each of us, we could each have our own personal tier list. Some of us, a movie that might be S tier for me might only be B tier for you or something like that, and vice versa. And so we'll see. But I think that's actually a good one to start with because I have maybe I don't want to say controversial, but I actually have some thoughts on Up. So here we go. I'm going to look that up real quick. I'm going to look that up. Here we go. So you can see I can just type it in. Yep, there is the movie right there. We'll grab this picture here. So Up, here's what I'll say. The intro of Up. Oh boy. Hopefully y'all can, all right, there we go. Yeah, that picture disappeared for a second. Okay, the intro of Up is 10 out of 10, without question. One of the most powerful, like, it's almost like a little short film. The first, 10 minutes of the movie, or however long that intro is, like, one of the most powerful, just story unfoldings to happen. I mean, that will get you bawling, in just at the beginning of the movie. If we were just judging the intro of Up, it would be S tier. It's like, that intro is so powerful. 10 out of 10. But to be honest, I think the rest of the movie is kind of just a 7. It's, it's not necessarily bad. It's just a lot of stuff happens. And Pixar is kind of known for very creative and and oddball story choices, which I think most of the time plays out to their benefit. But for me, in the situation of Up, it just felt a little I don't know, a little unfocused. There was just too much kind of random events happening, and there wasn't much more motivation to the story for me and stuff. So again, I would say the intro is like S tier, but the rest of the movie would be like, I don't know, like a C for me. So if I had to rank Up, I would put it in B tier. What are your guys' thoughts? Where would y'all rank Up? Depending on your votes, we may put it higher, we may put it lower. But I think I would put it B tier. Because like I said, the bulk of the movie kind of diminishes in effectiveness. So I'm going to put it there for now, but we'll see kind of what's going on in the chat. Does that sound like a good placement for me, or do some of y'all disagree? Do y'all agree? We'll see. Let's see. Jack was saying, I forgot about Up and Big Hero 6. Yeah, Big Hero 6 was a good one too. And yes, super powerful for sure. The intro, very, very powerful. Jack would vote for A tier, okay? And then what about yourself, Stan? Where would you want to place that one? And maybe while we're waiting for Stan's vote, we'll look up Big Hero 6. I think that's another good one. Big Hero 6 is solid. It's been a little while since I've seen it, but I remember quite enjoying it when I first saw it. Big Hero 6. I definitely like the animation style. It's almost kind of like a 3D anime a little bit, kind of some, let's see, we'll grab this one here. Like I like the character designs in it and stuff, and it's a fun movie. I don't know that it necessarily did anything, like did anything wrong or anything. I think it's just, solid movie. It's like, no complaints. Trying to think, we're trying to squeeze this into the frame here. For me, I think I would do B tier again for Big Hero 6. But I would actually pick Big Hero 6 over Up. Again, I think Up has such an emotional impact at the beginning, but I think the rest of the film diminishes, whereas Big Hero 6, I think, is consistently solid, Big Hero 6 doesn't have like this one good moment and then diminishes in quality. I'd say Big Hero 6 is consistent the whole way through, the entire movie. So I would pick Big Hero 6 over Up, but I think they're both kind of around like B tier movies, like just solid movies worth seeing. Let's see here. That opening was powerful. There's no dialogue, but you can feel it. Yeah, sometimes show but don't tell. That's a very effective technique, especially in filmmaking. When it comes to movies and stuff, show don't tell. That's like the best way to tell a story. Exposition is exposition kind of like when you're telling the audience everything, explaining it, it kind of loses its effectiveness. It's not as effective as being able to portray it visually. I think people can relate more when they can actually see it. Man, Jack says, I lost my younger brother, so Big Hero 6 has a special place in my heart. Man, I'm sorry about that, dude. That's so tough. I have a lot of siblings. I've been very fortunate that I haven't lost anyone super close in my life, but I can say, like, I just can't imagine how devastating that would be. I just know how much I love my siblings. I will say this, that's the great thing about art, whether it's a movie or a music, is, again, for me, Big Hero 6 was kind of just an enjoyable movie. But for you, being able to just relate to the character and just have a story that you resonate with, that what that's like, that's going to put that up higher and stuff. And I'll say just for that, let's at least put that up to A tier. I'd say just knowing how personal that film can be, how impactful it can be. Stan says never saw Big Hero 6. You'll have to give it a watch. It's a good one. Actually, I wouldn't mind watching it again. I haven't seen it in quite a few years, but I remember enjoying it. But yeah, that's the interesting thing about any piece of movie and stuff, piece of art, how it can just how it can connect with you. I'm trying to think. I can think of a show. I'm trying to think if there's like a movie that sort of resonated with me. I can say there's an anime called Suzuka, and sometimes I'm kind of scared to like share that show because I'm afraid, like, because that show just means so much to me, and I don't know if people will connect with it the way that I did. But let's just say, at the time when I saw that show, I could just very much relate to the main character and some of the things that he was dealing with because I was dealing with the same things. Conspiracy Music, thanks for joining the chat. Appreciate you coming in. Would you like me to refer to you as Conspiracy Music, or is there a first name that you'd like me to call you as? We're just getting started with our tier list here. We're doing animated films, and so, yeah, please share some of your favorite animated movies if you have some suggestions to make. Let's see here. What else we got? Jack had mentioned some earlier. Let's go ahead. I mean, we got to bring this one up. Let's bring up Lion King. I mean, talk about, a classic film and such a powerful movie. Lion King is kind of one of those movies, like, you enjoy it as a kid, and then as you get older, it just resonates more. It's like there's certain things that, just mean a whole lot more to you. I think, I don't know, somehow Mufasa always kind of reminds me of my dad somehow. And so, so just the way that story unfolds can be, I don't know. I guess I can kind of, I don't want to say relate to Simba, but sort of identify with Simba and sort of just wanting to make my dad proud. And I feel like I have such a good dad. But man, what a powerful film. This is one of those movies that like surpasses the animation. It's not just a cartoon for kids. It's like, like a movie that anyone can appreciate. Lion King's got to be S tier. That is a classic film right there. Clay, great to have you join us. And if you have any suggestions for a movie, go ahead and share them. Stanley says, I saw Up with my wife, and because we are old, LOL. The loss of your better half. Yeah. Yeah, I could get that, but for sure, that's that's the thing with any of these movies is just when you can identify with the characters. Yeah, Lion King's got to be S tier. Let's see here. That's right, it was adapted from Hamlet. Yeah, pretty much. Which the funny thing is, I don't know that I've heard the full story of Hamlet. I've heard like maybe the the overview of Hamlet. But but basically yes. Lion King is just the same story as Hamlet, but adapted into animation here. Let's see, we'll do a couple more, and then I think I'll play a song, and you guys can certainly keep making suggestions and votes and stuff. Stan said The Little Mermaid. Again, I think this is another classic Disney film, The Little Mermaid. Now, I will say, when you kind of compare like Little Mermaid to The Lion King, I'm not sure that The Little Mermaid has quite as much depth. It's a much simpler story, and it's not necessarily. I don't know if it's quite as. I mean, you can relate to it, but yeah, Lion King is sort of about this this young lion who is rightful to the throne, and he kind of has this sort of, kind of ego, proud mindset about it at first. But he is basically tricked into thinking that he has caused his father's death, and so he goes off into basically exile, just kind of hiding on his own. And as he gets older, eventually he's found by someone that, his childhood friend, and basically convinced, like, hey, you've got to come back. You're supposed to be king. And he sort of feels like he can't live up to what his dad was. But, she kind of encourages him, saying, like, this is your responsibility. We need you. We need your help. And he basically kind of learns, like, the responsibility and sort of the humility that comes with being a leader, rather than, rather than what do you call it? Rather than just like, oh, I get to be king and everyone gets to bow down before me. It's like, no, it's a much bigger responsibility than that. Whereas Little Mermaid is kind of just a crush, just a mermaid who has a crush on a human and has the opportunity to sort of convince this person to fall in love with him, but has to give up her angelic singing voice. And so it's a fun tale, but not quite as deep. And Stan, I'd actually disagree, not because it's for a girl. Guys can have crushes too. So a guy can have that. You could interchange it. It could be a guy who sees a girl and wants a chance to impress her, and so he it has to do the same thing. And same thing with Lion King. Lion King's not just for boys. It could be girls who have to step up to a certain responsibility, and maybe they have a parental figure that they admire, and they're afraid that they won't live up to the expectations and stuff. So it's not as simple as just, oh, one's girly and one's a little more masculine. It's like, no, it's the depth of the story. But Little Mermaid, I think, is like, for what it is, it's a very well done, like, fun movie. I think it is a classic, so I think I would put it A tier. For me personally, it might be, I don't know. It's one of those movies. Like, I'm probably not going to put on Little Mermaid, like, I'm probably not going to watch it. But if I ever did watch it, like, it's an enjoyable movie. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's a fun movie. And yeah, definitely something good. Jack says, yeah, I'd put The Little Mermaid and Aladdin both at A tier. They are great and certainly ahead of their time in a different way, but not as powerful as The Lion King. I think I would agree with that. Yeah, Aladdin, we'll go ahead and pull that one up too. Like, Aladdin is another classic, and I actually watched that fairly recently. Now, when I say recently, I mean like within the past year or two, And again, there's just a lot of great stuff. Robin Williams, what a phenomenal performance. I think you could argue that Robin Williams' performance as Genie is S tier. But, the movie as a whole is just a fun, a little bit of everything. Fun, adventure, and, romance and comedy. So definitely a classic film. Again, I don't know if it necessarily, and it kind of is what it is, I would say that Aladdin is more of, like, it's a family movie, but definitely doesn't quite have the same depth as a story like Lion King. So definitely a classic film, but yes, I would also put this one on A tier. In fact, most of the Disney classics are probably going to be like A or S tier, that kind of thing. So. Yep, Stan says, I kid, yet they have both choices you have to make. Robin is the man, Robin Williams, yep. And yes, 100% agree about Robin Williams, yep. Phenomenal performance, and especially, like, I think so much of that, I think he actually improvised, like, a lot of that dialogue, and the animators kind of had to work around him. Like, they had to animate things based off of what he was improvising. So, all right, we got a good list happening here. I'm going to go ahead and play another song for you guys. I've got an instrumental I'll play. Yes, El Dorado. That's a good one. We'll pull that up. Go ahead and nominate a few favorites, and maybe we can balance out this list a little bit. Maybe we could find a few, lesser enjoyable films. Are there any movies out there that you had a hard time watching? Any animated films that were a little challenging to get through? And I will say that's the one thing about these tier lists. I typically like to just enjoy, like, speak positively about everything. So even a movie that I didn't necessarily enjoy, that doesn't mean that it wasn't a good experience for somebody else. But yeah, so it's I definitely don't want to talk trash too much on any movies, but at the same time, I feel like this will be a little more, rather than just picking all our favorite A tier movies, trying to balance out this list, see if we can kind of fill it out, and maybe express, why a movie didn't quite have the impact we were hoping to get from it. So, but here we go. Got an instrumental for you guys. Hope you like it. Go ahead and feel free to nominate a few more suggestions. Anyone else who's just joining us, don't be shy. Say hello. And yeah, here we go. Lego. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat. We'll bring back up the tier list. Here we go. And back to the chat. Thanks, Stan. Appreciate that. I say name them all, and we all vote. Yep, we could. Yep, that's a pretty good suggestion, actually. All right, we have quite a few suggestions from Jack here. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. But yeah, that is that's a question too. Again, I'm kind of new to these, and so you know, if I can certainly bring up suggestions too, and then you guys are certainly welcome to vote on them. But yeah, whatever you know, whatever format kind of works best. Let's have a look at some of these suggestions that Jack brought up. So, The Hunchback of Notre Dame and Fantasia are both choices I'd rank in like the C or perhaps even D tier. They were good, but it took me a couple of attempts with each to get through them. I would probably have to agree with that. I've only seen each one maybe once, but I remember. I was kind of late. Actually, I think both movies. It's kind of funny. When I was a kid, let's see. You know, I remember seeing like trailers for the. Hopefully, I'm spelling this right. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Hopefully, I spelled that right. But yeah, I remember seeing trailers and. The trailers always made it look kind of like a fun movie and look like any other Disney movie. And heck, actually, these little gargoyle guys, I remember like having Happy Meal toys of those little gargoyles back in the day and stuff. So, like, I never got to see the movie, but I was aware of it. And eventually, when I got a chance to see it, I think I do remember being a little underwhelmed. It definitely wasn't. Yeah, it definitely wasn't a bad movie, but. I think you almost, if you're expecting to get like, Lion King or, Aladdin or, that kind of quality out of it, you almost expect that from like every Disney movie from this era. And while most of them are very, very good, I would not say they are all on that same level. So yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it, but yes, I think I would agree. Let's put Hunchback on C tier for now. Stan, I don't know if you have any thoughts about this movie or any of the others. Oh, do you mean I'm late to seeing it? Yeah. Oh man, Boss Baby. I haven't even watched Boss Baby. Have any of you seen Boss Baby? Because that one seemed rough. Like, that's one of those animate. I will say, when it comes to these, here's what I will say. I mean, good gosh, the '90s, like, pretty much every animated film that came out was solid. Like even C tier is not awful. Like, yeah, sure, maybe it wasn't like great, but. I wouldn't say Notre Dame was a bad movie. Again, I would just say it was maybe just a bit underwhelming, especially compared to its peers at the time. But man, a lot of the animated movies that come out these days, with the pop, I kind of have a theory here. So keep in mind, these movies back then were hand animated, hand drawn, and so if you're going to put that much effort into something, like it better be good. Hey, Daniel, appreciate you stopping by. Hey, I don't know if you have any movies to nominate. You can see what we've done already. We're doing a tier list here, and we're just kind of ranking them. We're talking about, right now I'm talking about the difference between some of the movies in the 90s. They were all hand animated, so if you're going to put that much effort into something, like, I'm pretty sure you're going to make sure it's good. Like, you're not going to put all your time and effort into hand animating something that's going to be mediocre. And so... Whereas with CGI, like, don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of work that goes into computer animation, but I don't think nearly as much work as what went into hand animation. And so it seems like now with computer animation, they can just dish out these sort of like throwaway animated films. And they're movies that, are maybe appealing to kids, but they just have no substance, Like, that's the difference. Like, a movie like Lion King, you can enjoy that as a kid. It's going to be appealing to a kid, but then when you're older, you can appreciate it for its themes. That's what makes it a great movie. Whereas, something like Boss Baby is, like, just for kids. And once you kind of outgrow that, like, I don't know if you're going to enjoy that. Now, I can't, now, to be honest, I can't, comment fully on Boss Baby because I haven't seen it. So I'm going off Stan's word here. He says D. I don't know if anyone else has a vote for that. Well, what else do we have? I was going to grab Anastasia real quick. That's another movie. I remember when I was a kid, I actually got a toy of the little bat from Anastasia. I'm spelling it. And so I always thought, the little bat character was kind of cute, and I think I remember seeing a trailer with him, kind of saying a few lines, and to be honest, like I kind of, I like the art style. I don't even think this is a Disney movie. I think it was another studio that produced this film, and so there was always something kind of like there's kind of a dark tone to this movie, not quite as like bubbly as some other animated films, and so I was kind of intrigued by it, but I think I do remember watching it, and yeah, again, I think underwhelming is kind of the best word I can say. It wasn't necessarily bad, but just kind of underwhelming. So I would kind of agree in putting that in the C tier. I don't know if anyone else has an opinion and where they might vote differently. Again, your vote can move some of these. If you really like a movie, we may move it up a tier, and if you really dislike a movie, we may move it down a tier. And let me grab Boss Baby. Sorry, trying to go as fast as I can. Now, I think some of the fun is kind of talking about the movies, rather than just ranking them. So I'm trying to kind of provide some commentary. So it's not just like, yep, this one's D, that one's A, oh, that one's S. It's like let's try to have some depth here. 1 second. Let's see. Now I'm actually going to get to Frozen in a second. Let's see here. Yep, Jack says Boss Baby wasn't for them. World of Secret Pets was probably kind of in the same ballpark, I would imagine. They knew the parents had to bring them, so they made it good for everyone. Yeah, yeah, I would kind of agree with that. But that, that's still true today. Parents have to sit through some of these movies that are made today. Yeah, that's not a Disney movie. Con Men. I don't know if that's the brand or if you mean like con men made, like actual con men made the movie. All right. So where was I? Yeah, let's do. Let's grab Boss Baby. So I think we're gonna add that on D tier. Now I will say a movie that I saw that I think was probably. It's actually kind of surprising that this is from DreamWorks, because DreamWorks actually makes a lot of really good stuff, but I guess they do have their throwaway content as well. One movie I saw, I'll bring it up in a little bit, but I definitely, I have been to the theater to see, those kind of underwhelming sort of movies. We'll put this D tier right here. I'm sure there's a few like amusing moments and stuff. It's probably not, complete garbage, but challenging. Oh, let's see here. Using a poor girl only to discover that she really was the last of the Romanovs. Right. Yep. Yeah, that's the plot for Anastasia. Where was I here? World of Secret Pets. Yeah, one movie I went to see was I remember when we went to see the new animated Grinch movie that came out. Now it's kind of funny. There's a lot of things here. There are people who grew up with the classic, the original animated Grinch, which I don't even know if it was a full movie. I think it was just like a kind of a short, sort of holiday special. And they grew up with that, and I don't think they cared too much for the Jim Carrey movie. Now, I grew up with the Jim Carrey movie, and I got to be honest, that's like one of my favorite Christmas movies. If we were doing a Christmas tier list, the Grinch would be like S tier for me. I know it's probably more like A or B tier, but for me, the nostalgia and what it means to me, definitely an S tier movie for me. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. But that one, we can't nominate that one. But this was the new one that came out. And I remember going to see this, and I was hopeful for it. It had a Benedict Cumberbatch as the Grinch, and so I was hopeful that it would be an enjoyable movie. And an animated Grinch movie seemed fun. But I remember one of the biggest challenges with this movie was there was such a conflict in tone. Have any of you seen this movie? Because there is there's a pretty big conflict in tone. Half of the movie is kind of this like fun, like, silly, quirky, Whoville vibe. And then there's another, I remember just this scene of, Cindy Lou like coming home and her mom is like tired and depressed, like laying on, like, seated in the kitchen. And it was like, this is not the movie to tell that kind of story. Like, this isn't Up. They were trying to like add in like kind of that realism, like humanity, but it was kind of like, depressing, and it was like, this is not the right property for that kind of story. This is meant to be kind of a fun, kid-friendly adventure, and that's not to say that it can't have heart, but it just like had this like really heavy, kind of heavy tone to it. So it was very conflicting at the time. But anyway, this was kind of a rough movie, probably like C or D tier for me. I wouldn't rewatch it. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go D tier. This one was kind of challenging to get through. All right. Okay, let's see here. Let me just catch up with the chat real quick. Yep, Stan says, doing good, man. Love that short you posted. You were rocking. Love that green, man. I'll have. Was it a short that that Daniel posted? Or because if Daniel posted a short, I'm not sure that I'd seen it yet. I might have to check that out. Let's see here. Unless I posted a short, and I don't remember it posting. Jack says, DreamWorks made How to Train a Dragon, which was great, but I'd put the sequel at D or E tier. Yeah, I'm not even sure that I've seen the sequel. I'm pretty sure I saw the first one, and that was a good movie. But the sequel, I'm sure was pretty rough. We'll go ahead and grab that one real quick. Where would you rank the first movie? How to Train... Is it Your Dragon? Your Dragon. I think I'd only seen it once, and I remember being enjoyable. For me, I'd probably put it like B tier, It might be better than that. It might be A tier, but I'd only seen it once, so I can't really remember. But where would you rank it? Whoops. Can I undo that? Cool. All right. Yep. Here we go. Let me crop that first. How to Train Your Dragon. We'll see. I'm going to put it just over here for now, but I'll move it kind of based on what you say. From my memory, I would put it at B tier, but it might be an A tier movie. And from the way you were describing it, it sounds like it might be deserving to be up a little higher. How to Train Your Dragon 2. I hadn't seen this one. At least I'm pretty sure I haven't seen this movie. So I can't comment. Based off your description, we'll go ahead and put it. We'll put it D tier for now. I feel like I need to. Well, I don't know. We'll put it D tier. Because keep in mind, the thing about sequels too. Sometimes sequels. They have a lot of expectations to live up to. So sometimes like a sequel can be incredibly disappointing, but maybe it's not actually that bad. It's just, kind of just disappointing. It didn't live up to the expectations you had based off the previous movie. Yeah, Daniel hasn't posted a short. I'm sorry, I hit the wrong name. No worries. So Jack says A tier, so we'll go ahead. Let's bump this up to A tier. Let's see here. Wow, I had forgotten how many anime movies I have seen. Yep, there are quite a few. Let me mention a couple real quick. So Stan mentioned this earlier, and I definitely got to mention this one. The Road to El Dorado. This is one of those animated movies that it's not a cartoon, Like, yes, it's animated, but it's not a kid movie. It's like, it's a movie. Yes, it's appropriate for kids, but it's basically like an adult movie that's animated. like you could make this exact movie live action if you wanted to. Like just follow the story exactly, the way it unfolds. If you were to shoot it with real actors, it would still work. Like it's not like it had to be a cartoon to work. Now, obviously, there are certain characters like the armadillo and stuff. The sort of cartoony kiddie characters that they have in it. But as far as like the story, this is just such a fun adventure film. For me, I got to go S tier. Road to El Dorado is one of my favorite animated films. Now, I would say, interestingly, I'd say it's a different film than, I know we've got Lion King up on S tier right now. Lion King, again, I think is just, kind of excels at so many different things. It definitely has like a deep story. But Road to El Dorado is just like such a great adventure film. It's so funny. The characters are so likable. It's got great music in it. And, just... You haven't seen it? Wow, Jack hasn't seen The Road to El Dorado. Definitely check that out when you get a chance. It's a great movie. It's again, like I said, just really really great characters, good music, and just like a fun adventure story. And I will say, action adventure is my favorite genre, and so this definitely falls under the category of adventure. And so it's just a enjoyable film. It's a fun ride to go on. So that's definitely one worth checking out. I've got one more movie I want to mention because this is going to segue into the next song that I do. So I actually went to theaters with my brother to see Frozen 2. Now I didn't have, let's see, I saw the first Frozen, and obviously it was very popular. I don't think I was the market for that movie, so, I saw it. It was fine. I'd probably rank it, to be honest, for me, I don't know, B or C tier, like even B, like it's probably B tier, but that's being kind of nice, So I didn't have any interest in seeing Frozen 2, but my younger brother wanted to go see it, and he didn't want to go by himself, so I went with him. And as I was watching the movie, it was fine. It's been a few years since I've seen it. I think it came out like 2018, 2019, something like that. No, it must have been 2019 or 2020. So it came out a few years ago, and that was the only time I saw it was in theaters. And I remember watching it, and of course, the first movie had the song "Let It Go," and so I knew there was going to be like a big number in this movie too, and the scene came where Elsa was going to sing the song, and so the song is "Into the Unknown," and I remember kind of listening to the song and sort of patting on my lap, kind of drumming along with it a little bit, and this thought came in my head. I thought this could be a metal song. And I said, no, I'm not going to make a cover of this song. That's such a gimmick. It's like, I don't want any interest. I don't have any interest in doing that, but then I thought, you know what, maybe I'll at least try it out and see how I feel about it. And so that's the only like good thing that came from this movie. Sorry, I just unplugged my headphones. Basically, I got home, and eventually I looked up the song and kind of started listening to it and started playing around on the guitar, trying to come up with an arrangement. And I made a demo of kind of like a metal version of the song. And to my surprise, it sounded pretty cool. And I decided, all right, this might be worthwhile. This might be worth doing. And the funny thing is, I actually think that song works better as a metal song. Like the original song I don't think is that great. I think the arrangement is a little too dynamic. It changes too much. There's no continuation, nothing, no expectancy. It's just like kind of almost like a riff salad, but obviously doesn't have riffs in it. I don't know. The original song, like you'd have to listen to it several times to really kind of get it in your head. But let's see. Yep, Stan says never saw Frozen at all. Jack has seen the first Frozen, and yeah, I think I'd agree, C tier. Never seen the second one, and well, I can say, you know, unless you were a big fan of the first one, you know, I don't think the second one's worthwhile. But yeah, sure enough, I did a metal cover of this song. I did a metal cover of Into the Unknown, and you know, I like my version of the song, so that's like the only good thing that came out from seeing that movie. But you know, the movie itself, not bad, but just like, you know, the story was pretty jumbled, and like a kid would enjoy it, but there's not much, you know, not much substance to it. So I'm not going to say it's like complete garbage. I mean, the animation is nice, you know, but you know, yeah, I'd probably put that like D tier, and probably put the first one C tier. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and play for you guys my cover of Into the Unknown. So, you know, I don't know if you haven't seen the movie, maybe you haven't heard the song, or maybe you have heard it, because I'm sure, you know, with the popularity of the franchise, you know, maybe it was played everywhere, and you know, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing it. But yeah, so here we go. This is my version of Into the Unknown. And oh, Daniel, you're having to head out. So hey, just so you know, Ice Age is S tier. So hopefully you're not gone yet, so you can hear that. I love Ice Age. That was like, it's been a while since I've seen it, so to be honest, I need to watch it again to judge it accurately. But as far as I can remember, I remember loving the first Ice Age when I saw it, and it was like one of my favorite animated movies growing up. So I'm going to say S tier, but yeah, we'll get to that. So are you going to play the metal cover for us? Yes, Jack. If you haven't heard it, that's what I'm going to play. This is the metal cover of Into the Unknown. I put this out back in like 2020, something like that, 2021. And so, yes, this is available on, you know, Spotify and all that stuff. And I actually made a little music video for it. So, you know, after the stream, if you want, you can go to my YouTube channel, and you can search for the Into the Unknown music video, and kind of a fun little video I did for that. So, all right, so here we go. I'm going to play this, and as I am playing this, 1 second, got to adjust my strap here. What just happened? You know, feel free to make more suggestions. Maybe we could use some more S tier. You know, if you guys have some S tier suggestions, we can get some positive. We've got a lot of A. You know, let's see if we can find some, like, what are some of the best animated movies? You know, all right, here we go. This is my cover of Into the Unknown. Enjoy. I can hear you, but I won't. Some look for trouble, while others don't. There's 1,000 reasons I should go about my day and ignore your whispers, which I wish would go away. You're not a voice, you're just a ringing in my ear. And if I heard you, which I don't, I'm spoken for, I fear. And everyone I've ever loved is here within these walls. I'm sorry, secret siren, but I'm blocking out your calls. I've had my adventure, and I don't need something new. I'm afraid of what I'm risking if I follow you into the unknown. Into the unknown. Into the unknown. What do you want? 'Cause you've been keeping me awake. Are you here to distract me so I make a big mistake? Or are you someone out there who's a little bit like me? Who knows deep down I'm not where I'm meant to be? Every day's a little harder as I feel my power grow. Don't you know there's part of me that longs to go into the unknown. Into the unknown. Into the unknown. Whoa, are you out there? Do you know me? Can you feel me? Can you show me? Whoa. Where are you going? Don't leave me alone. How do I follow you into the unknown? There we go. So that's my version of Into the Unknown. Again, that song is available on Spotify and Apple Music and all that stuff. So. And yes, and there is a music video for that, so which is kind of fun. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that's a tough song to play. It's hard to play and sing that one at the same time. Thank you guys, I appreciate that. Appreciate the feedback, the applause, and stuff. But that one it's a fun one to play on guitar. But there's quite a bit of noodling happening while you're trying to sing. So that one's kind of challenging. All right, let's see here. Let me go ahead and grab. Gotcha. Let's see here. I'm an Ice Age man. Yep. Ice Age was pretty good. Okay, I see. Yeah, Stanley actually brought up Ice Age, and then Daniel was acknowledging that it was pretty good. The sequels were a little challenging, but the first Ice Age I quite enjoyed. Let's see here. Yeah, let's see if we can find some more S-tier movies. I will say this, like I love Ice Age, but I think I would put it A tier if I had to pick it. It's been a while since I've seen it, so I could be remembering with rose tinted eyes or whatever the expression is. I remember loving it as a kid. I remember being hilarious, but unfortunately, sometimes movies aren't what you remember them to be. Sometimes you remember loving something as a kid, and then whoops, not sure what's happening there. Oh, it won't give me the. Let me put up Ice Age. Won't let me access that picture for some reason. There we go. Let's grab this one. Yeah. I've had it happen before where, sometimes you remember something being really good and really enjoyable, and then you go back to check it out, and it's like, not quite what I remember, So, so yeah, it's actually been a while. I've been wanting to see Ice Age again. I haven't watched it in quite some time, but, so for now, I'll go ahead and put it A tier for now, just because I do remember enjoying it. It might be S tier, it might be B tier, I'm pretty sure it was solid. I don't think it was a bad movie. I remember being fun. It might have been a little silly. I still I do quote the movie a lot. Me and my brother. Whenever it snows and stuff, me and my siblings will always be like, "I'm just saying, why do they call it an Ice Age? Because of all the ice." And so there's definitely some nice quotes from there. S tier, maybe Beauty and the Beast, the first animated movie to be nominated for a Best Picture Oscar. Yes, I think I watched Beauty and the Beast fairly recently, and it actually is, again, it's one of those classic Disney movies that really is well made. For myself personally, I'm trying to think. I do know Beauty and the Beast is quite good. I can't remember if Again, for me, it might be more like A tier. We'll go ahead. We'll put it up there. I think it's worthy of S tier. I just can't remember for myself personally if it was if it was S tier for me. Did I spell that right? Yeah, but I do remember watching it, and yeah, that's a good one right there. Beauty and the Beast. There we go. We'll grab this one. Earlier we were talking about Prince of Egypt. I think I'm going to bring that one up. That's an S tier movie, again, that was one, you watch it as a kid and it's like, oh, this is, I like this. This is a good movie, and then you watch it as an adult and it's like, wow, what a powerful film. Again, Prince of Egypt is one of those movies, like, it's not a cartoon. Like, you totally could have made that movie with live actors, live action with real actors and stuff. They just happen to do it animated. And so, yes, it's a little more appealing to kids, but as far as, like, the depth of the story and, like, the power of the performances, such a very mature film, let's see, Prince of Egypt, and just, fantastic music. Oops, I think I spelled it wrong, but yeah, here we go. Great music, great performances, really cool art style. And I think this was one of, if I remember correctly, I think this was actually one of DreamWorks' first animated films. And, like, they came out swinging, because they had to compete with Disney at the time. This came out, I want to say late, like 98, I think, late 90s, early 2000s, something like that. And so, DreamWorks had to keep up with Disney, so they had to come up with something big. I think Steven Spielberg actually had some advice. I think it was his idea, to be honest. They're like, what movie should we make? And he's like, tell the story of Moses. And they're like, okay, wow, we'll do that. And I will say, that was the cool thing about DreamWorks. And it's a shame that they've kind of lost that. The first few DreamWorks movies, again, Road to El Dorado, The Prince of Egypt, like, were these really, really powerful, like, mature films for animated movies. Whereas now, I do think DreamWorks, they still make some good stuff, but they, again, I think, what was it? Like, they made Boss Baby. So, and I'm not so sure, but yeah, it does seem that, Stan, are you serious? Have you never seen Prince of Egypt? Man, you gotta, how have you not seen that? You need to watch that movie. That's such a good animated film. Yes, beautiful animation style. Yep. Let's see. Yeah, Prince of Egypt has a very powerful story, and the music is so powerful. Yeah, Stan, you need to see that. In fact, anyone watching, pretty much, if you haven't seen any of these S-tier movies, you probably need to go watch them. And these A's are probably a second, second choice too. Let's see here. So yeah, Prince of Egypt is phenomenal. Let's see if we can, fill up some B tier. So again, B is, I would say B is like a solid movie. I would say B even has replay value. B is like, maybe it's not like a phenomenal film. Maybe it's not like one of the best movies you've ever seen. But B is like, that's a good movie. That's a good movie. That's worth watching. And so yeah. Can you guys think of any B movies? Yeah, and Boss Babies too. So, yeah, if you're saying DreamWorks, yeah, now they've gone from Prince of Egypt to Boss Babies too. So. Yeah, quite a drastic shift. All right, let me think. I'm trying to think if there's any, any B tier movies. Kind of going through them in my head. Any other animated? I can think of movies that I like. Yeah, I think I'd say the first Shrek would be B tier. I think I would agree with that. I do actually quite like Shrek. The second one might even be better. So the second one might be A tier, whereas the first one is B tier. But yeah, I agree. I think that's a pretty good suggestion. Whoops, what just happened? I think that's a good suggestion right there. Shrek's one of those movies. Man, what keeps happening? I think I keep hitting Command, and I'm trying to hit Shift. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I keep hitting. I was hitting Command S, and it kept like it was bringing up the save thing. Yeah, Shrek's one of those movies. It's like, I don't know if I'd say Shrek is like my favorite animated movie, but it's totally, rewatchable. I would, I'd watch it multiple times. Just a solid, fun movie. And again, I think this was DreamWorks. So kind of a unique angle again from DreamWorks, because this was another one of those movies that like was just very different from like the kid movies at the time. It wasn't just, it was almost more. Again, I feel like early DreamWorks movies were appropriate for kids, but were aimed more at adults, which is funny because the moment you say anything is adult, that always sounds like inappropriate at first. But that's not necessarily the case. I mean, they definitely had their, little hidden jokes in there, little, jokes that only the adults would catch or something. But yeah, for the most part, it's like, a movie that kids can enjoy and parents as well. So that was kind of the cool thing. It wasn't just something that was only for kiddos. Yep. Jack says Shrek 2 is the better one. Sounds good. I think I would agree with all that. Hercules, maybe B tier. Yeah, Hercules, I'm a little torn. That might be A tier for me. I'm not sure. I would agree that it's at least B tier. I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy who does Hades, great performance. He might even be like, the highlight of that movie. And I do really like Greek mythology and stuff. So as far as like, it's almost like the subject, of Hercules is maybe what appeals to me more than necessarily the execution. And there are some good songs in there. I'd have to, it's been a little while since I've seen it, so I'd have to watch it again to judge it accurately. But yeah, I would agree. At least it's B tier, if not A tier. But again, A tier would be kind of like a personal preference for me. And I always like Danny DeVito as Phil. So let's see here. We'll grab this one real quick. I will say, kind of a cool story though. So Meg, the female character in the movie. So I don't know if any of you know Brizzy Voices here on YouTube. So Brizzy Voices is a voice actress, and she got very popular because she could do voice impressions. She would make these YouTube videos doing voices of cartoon characters, and it's pretty amazing. She could do like a bunch of different voices, and she did this like little series where she would read comments and do a voice of that comment. And so she did a video on April Fool's Day. This was a few years ago. She did a video on April Fool's Day saying that she'd lost her voice, so she could no longer be a voice actress. And she could no longer be a voice actress, and so she was going to have to pick a new career. And so in the video, she decides, so I'm going to be the only logical thing I can be. I'm going to be a mime. And so she puts on the mime makeup and, starts doing, like, all the hand motions and stuff like that. And it's kind of a funny little video. And then at the end of it, she apparently gets her voice back and says, well, no harm done, So I left a comment on that video. I said, darn, I was looking forward to all the new mime content. Oh, well, So I was just kind of being playful, just like, I was looking forward to that, but obviously she was joking, and I kind of knew it was an April Fool's video anyway. But she ended up loving that comment, how channels can, you can love comments and stuff. And I think she pinned it, like put it at the top of the page, and it got a bunch of likes, a bunch of people liked it. Probably like the most attention, like one of my comments has ever gotten on YouTube and stuff. So it was pretty awesome. But what ended up happening was later she did an episode where she would read comments, and I got a notification that she loved my comment. And I was like, why am I getting a notification for this? This was like months ago. And then I kind of, had like a suspicion, but I saw she had posted a new video, and sure enough, she had selected my comment for the video. So in the video, she does the voice of Meg from Hercules. She does the voice of Meg and reads my comment and says, and it was perfect for the character. She does the voice of Meg, the whole kind of like sassy kind of, darn, I was really looking forward to all the new mime content. Oh, well, she kind of does like her impression. Obviously, I don't sound like Meg, but, that kind of attitude. Oh, hey, Christopher, thanks for joining us. yeah, just to get you up to speed, we're doing a tier list. Well, I'll fill you in. Let me finish this story real quick. So basically, yeah, Brizzy Voices chose my comment, did the voice of Meg when she read it. And so, so I think for that, I think I'm going to have to go A tier with Hercules, just because, there's some sentimental value for that. But yeah, I think it's a solid movie. It's a fun one, good one to enjoy. Christopher, so what we are doing a tier list. I don't know if you've ever seen these or done these before, but basically, we're just ranking things from best to worst. Today's topic, we're doing animated movies. So you can see on S tier, this is like the best of the best, classics. We've got Lion King, The Road to El Dorado, Beauty and the Beast, Prince of Egypt, great animated films. A, we've got really good movies, So we got Big Hero 6, we got The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, How to Train Your Dragon, Ice Age, and Hercules. And then going down, B tier is like solid, rewatchable, good movies, but nothing like stand out or spectacular. C tier is like, nothing great, but nothing bad, just kind of mediocre or generic, or just underwhelming. And then basically D, E, and F are just how bad something is, So, with that said, I'll go ahead and play another instrumental for you guys. And anyone watching, if you have any other suggestions, we're about full on A tier. So let's try to avoid A tier. So let's see if we can find either more S tier, maybe some more B and C. And I'd be curious if any of y'all have any movies that you would nominate for E and F. Is there anything you've seen that's just like, man, that movie was rough. That was, I hate to say it, but that was garbage. It's like, so if we have any, we can nominate those. But yeah, go ahead and leave your comments, leave your suggestions, and I'm going to dive into another song for you guys. This is another instrumental. Let me bring it up real quick. And yeah, this is I have released this song. This is an instrumental I wrote called Hard Goodbyes. This is a fun song to play. I actually shot a music video for this song, so if you hadn't seen it, that's another music video you can check out on my channel. Earlier, I played the song Into the Unknown from Frozen 2, and I've got a music video for that one as well. Which, it's a music video, but it's more of just a playthrough video, but with kind of a Frozen theme to it. So, but anyway, here's another instrumental. This one's called Hard Goodbyes. Hope you like it. Thank you. Again, that one's called Hard Goodbyes, and you can find that one on Spotify or Apple Music or, again, wherever you like to listen to music. That one is available on streaming. So, yep, sorry I kind of struggled with that solo a little bit, but, maybe next time. Let's see here. Jack says Mulan and Pocahontas are A tier. I would agree as well. Pocahontas could be S tier. I'd probably agree with that too. Oh, thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Appreciate the kind feedback. Yeah, I don't think we have room for any more A tier. I would agree. Pocahontas is either A or S tier. From memory, I would say S tier. Again, I kind of grew up with that one, but I do think sometimes Pocahontas gets a little bit of a bad rep because Pocahontas and The Lion King came out at the same time, and I think Disney was expecting Pocahontas to be, the big hit, and it was Lion King instead. But that doesn't mean that Pocahontas wasn't still a good movie. Pocahontas was still a very good movie, very enjoyable, and so yeah, definitely deserves to be A or S tier. Let's see here, and I'll even grab it for now. We'll just go ahead. We'll go S tier for now since we don't have room for A tier. It might A tier might be more accurate, but we'll be nice. We'll put it on S tier. I personally like this movie, so I have a lot of good memories around this time of my life. So I would have been just a kid growing up. A lot of good Happy Meal toys, and actually I think I was John Smith for Halloween one year, and my sister was Pocahontas. So, so yeah, a lot of fond memories with those '90s films. Let's see here. You know what? One of my favorite that I would put on S tier. I got to go Emperor's New Groove. We were talking about this one earlier, but we haven't actually brought it up yet. Emperor's New Groove is just such a fun film, like it is funny, it is energetic, like not in a bad way, like just, keeps your attention, and just such a fun film, such a quotable film. That's my favorite thing about animated movies. Like, I love it when they have good lines. Again, Jack mentioned earlier, pull the lever, Crunk, wrong lever, and it's funny. Of course, I'm gonna draw a blank on all the other quotes from this movie. What's weird is for some reason, movie quotes will kind of go into my vocabulary. Like, whenever there's an appropriate scenario to quote a movie, I'm the kind of person, I'll pull out a quote and I'll do it. And it's funny because, a lot of times my siblings will appreciate that because, we all kind of do the same thing. But, anyone who hasn't seen the movie and doesn't know what I'm quoting, they totally miss the opportunity to appreciate the reference I just made. But, so in that situation, there are probably a lot of quotes from Emperor's New Groove that would come out. But for some reason right now I'm drawing a blank. I definitely remember, the characters. Crunk is great. Yzma's great. And, they're all great, Pacha and, yeah, but I don't know why I'm struggling to remember, such good quotes. Oh, you know what one of my favorite quotes is? I love the scene where she falls out of the, falling from the temple, and at the bottom, the guard is talking with the delivery guy. He's like, "For the last time, we did not order a giant trampoline." He's like, "Well, pal, you could have told me that before I set it up." And then, she comes down and lands on the trampoline and flies back up. So, I love those little moments like that. And then there's Crunk with the angel and the devil on his shoulder and stuff. There's some funny exchanges there. So, yeah, definitely some good stuff. Let's see. Christopher says, Fievel Goes West too. Do you mean it's A-okay movie? It's A tier movie, or do you mean it's pretty good? What's funny is, yeah, I haven't seen that in years, man. So I remember the first, because there was a first movie with Fievel, right? I'm trying to remember what that was called. But I remember Fievel Goes West. That was, or were they both called Fievel Goes West? I can't remember. But I remember because the second one had to do with like a Western theme, like cowboys and that kind of thing. But I feel like the first one was almost took place in like London or something. Trying to remember. But man, I haven't seen that. Fievel Goes West. I haven't seen that in years, so I can't accurately judge that movie. Where would you rank it, Christopher? Where would it go in your opinion? Lots of the sequel films, like The Lion King, Aladdin, and Mulan, would be rock bottom. A lot of them would. Now, from memory, I will say, well, I don't know. I think the sequel to Lion King was decent, like maybe B or C tier, but you're definitely right that a lot of those, especially like the direct-to-DVD sequels and stuff, or direct-to-VHS, you know, a lot of those, yeah, definitely at the bottom. There's probably a lot of sequels we could mention that would be pretty rough. An American Tail, that's what it was called. So, so maybe it wasn't London. I guess it was just early America or whatever. Let me actually grab a different picture here. 1 second. Because this one kind of, well, I guess that's okay. You kind of just get his eyes, you know, so it kind of just looks like he's peeking. But, all right, let's see here. It's pretty good in my opinion. We'll put it we'll put it B tier. I can't remember, you know, so we'll go ahead and put it B tier because I'm sure it's a solid film. I'm sure it's a fun one to watch. There we go. Let's see. I'm trying to think what sequels I have seen. I know I've seen Lion King 2. And I'd probably put that like C tier. And again, that's from memory. I could be wrong. It might be total garbage, but I remember it being okay. You know, I remember liking it as a kid. Let's see here. I mean, in no way did it live up to the first movie, but you know, I don't think it was necessarily a bad movie from memory. Let's see. I'm looking at our list to see if I can remember any sequels. I never saw Pocahontas 2, which I think there was a second one. If there was a second one, it's like, oh, there was, you know. There was a Little Mermaid 2. I'm not sure I ever saw it. Now, I can say The Emperor's New Groove, Krunk's New Groove. What's funny is, the kind of a lesson learned. I remember when I heard this movie was coming out, Krunk's New Groove, I was thinking, this has to be amazing, because Krunk was like one of the best characters in the first movie. And so I was thinking, a movie all about him, that's got to be amazing. And then I actually saw it, and it was quite disappointing. You know? And what I've learned is it's actually the same mistake that Pirates of the Caribbean made. You know, Jack Sparrow is such a great character, but he's a great side character. He's not meant to be the protagonist, you know? And so in the sequels, you know, they kind of revolved around him more, and suddenly the movies kind of lost their stability. Like it wasn't like a good character to follow narratively. But you know, and that's part of character design. Like some characters, you know, it depends. Characters have to serve the story, and so there are some characters that best serve the story as being characters that the protagonist interacts with. So in the case of Krunk's New Groove, like, yes, Krunk was this great, you know, fun henchman kind of character, you know, and such a funny guy, but to have a movie revolve around him, it just kind of ended up being silly. I don't think it was like complete garbage, but I remember it being pretty disappointing. If I had to rank this, it's definitely like C or D. C would be kind of nice. I'm trying to think if I want to be nice or, you know, but it's definitely not a whole lot of replay value on it. I don't know. Since we don't, we'll go ahead and we'll put it D right now, because we are trying to get some of these lower ones here. But yeah, it definitely D for disappointing. So. I've heard of Secret of NIMH. I don't think I've ever actually watched it from beginning to end. I've seen parts of it. But that seemed like one of those movies that like seemed to have like a nice kind of fantasy, you know, kind of magical vibe to it. But I don't know if it was actually any good. All those Disney late '80s and mid '90s movies had weird sequels. I'm sure they did. I can agree with that. I think I'd heard that one of the Aladdin sequels was actually pretty good. It might have been like the third one or something, but I haven't seen it, so I can't really comment on that. Ice Age kind of periodically goes downhill. Like the sequel. What's funny is the second one, I'd probably give that like C or D. I think the third one was actually pretty good. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like I can't remember at all, but I remember this one character, this sort of like military kind of character that they have in it. So that's probably like C or D or B, C or B. That it's like a fun movie. It's not like great, but pretty solid movie. Let's see. Trying to think if trying to think what are some other sequels, some other rough ones. Yeah, I'm sure. Stan mentioned Boss Baby 2 earlier. That probably goes pretty low on the list. Man, I'm drawing a blank. I'm running out of some animated films here. And I'm trying to think if there's even anything that's. Let's see. I'm trying to think Pixar. Pixar definitely some more. We might have room for one more S tier. From Pixar, my favorite Pixar film. It's a toss up between Toy Story and Monsters Inc. Either one of those would go S tier, but Pixar's pretty consistent. They, I do think sometimes they'll try things that don't exactly pay off. And kudos to them for trying. Man, I don't know though. I'm kind of drawing a blank on my Pixar movies here. I am not sure. Tarzan's a good one. I actually quite like Tarzan. Tarzan would probably be like A or S tier for me. So that's a good one. I'm trying to think of. I hate to say it bluntly. I'm trying to think of more bad films, because I feel like we've got plenty of S and A tier, and I could maybe scoot these over and get a little more, try to get a little more room for our S and our A. But Tarzan's got great music, great animation. Good story, good characters, all that stuff. What's funny is I actually haven't seen WALL-E. I've heard it's good. I've wanted to see it, but I haven't had a chance to watch it. I'm certainly familiar with WALL-E, but I've probably got a few animated films I need to catch up on. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of drawing a blank on some more. We'll add a few more. Let's see. Tarzan. We'll go ahead and I made some room, so we'll add that one to the list. I will say Tarzan was one of those movies. Like I remember when I saw it. And I kind of think it was a good thing, but some of these these old animated movies sometimes had some pretty shocking scenes in them, especially as a kid. So if y'all remember Clayton, the antagonist in the film, I don't know if y'all remember how he meets his demise. He's surrounded by vines, and sort of in a fury, he's got a machete and he's cutting the vines loose, and he doesn't realize that there's some around his neck. And Tarzan's like, "Clayton, stop! Clayton, no!" And he cuts one and loses his slack, and he falls and ends up being hanged. And you can see like his shadow in the background, being hanged, and seeing that as a kid is like, it's pretty shocking stuff. But sometimes I think that's kind of, life has those shocking moments. So sometimes I feel like in kid movies, it's a good thing to have a little bit in there just to kind of prepare kids and kind of shape them to kind of know, what to expect, and not to just, because life's not just, fun and bubbly like a lot of animated films are. They have those consequences or those, dark little turns that happen. So I think it's kind of good to give kids a chance to have a little bit of exposure to that stuff so that it doesn't completely catch them off guard in the future. Sword in the Stone. I think I saw that once. I haven't seen it in a long time. Where would you rank that one, Christopher? What would you say of Sword in the Stone? Oh, Adria, thanks for joining us. Adria says, oh man, we love Wally. Must see. Well, I'll try to add that higher up on my watch list. I'll definitely try to get to that one. Yep, Jack says Wally was great. Where would you guys rank Wally? We can go ahead and add that one. I haven't seen it. Tarzan, I'm on the fence. Tarzan, again, that's another movie, like, I grew up with it, so I could probably put it S tier. I'd say S or A. I'm just going to go S tier for now, because, I quite like that. Again, it's very much an adventure film, and adventure is one of my favorite genres, so we'll go S tier for now. I'm going to look up Wall-E, and we'll look up Sword in the Stone. Where would you guys rank those movies? Yeah, here's Wall-E. Now, I've heard Wall-E is quite good, so I imagine it's probably up on the higher end of things. Again, Pixar has a pretty solid track record. Again, I applaud them for trying things. I don't think they always nail it, but, bravo to them whenever they do. I have a feeling maybe. Oh, hey, Dom. Thanks for joining. Dom, we're doing a tier list right now. I've played a few songs. I'm going to play another song in a moment here. But, yeah, we're just, we're basically ranking. Oh, my goodness. I just realized you guys can't even see the tier list, can you? I'm so sorry, guys. There we go. Now y'all can see it. I had it up before, but you guys are probably like, what is he looking at? So there we go. Here's our tier list right now. Yeah, we'll put Wall-E on the A for right now. I still have to see that movie. But just to catch you guys up to speed, so yeah, S tier, these are the best of the best. We got Lion King, Road to El Dorado, Beauty and the Beast, Prince of Egypt, Pocahontas, The Emperor's New Groove, and Tarzan. A tier, these are some really good movies. Big Hero 6, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, How to Train Your Dragon, Ice Age, Hercules, and Wall-E. B, these are like good movies, worth, rewatching and just maybe nothing spectacular, but good movies. So we got Up, Shrek, and American Tail. And just to explain some of these, yes, Up, the intro of Up is S tier. In case some people are saying Up and they're like, what, B tier, really? Yes, the intro is S tier, but to be honest, the rest of the movie is kind of more like C tier. So I think it averages out at about B. But and then, we got some C, we got a few D movies here. We don't have any E and F, so I don't know if y'all have any suggestions for some movies that were just really hard to get through. Yep, Dom says, loved Big Hero and Wall-E. I've seen Big Hero. I still have to see Wall-E, so I'll have to try to watch that one soon. So Jack says A, maybe S tier for Wall-E. So scary the trajectory Wall-E predicts for humanity. I know a little bit about Wall-E. So I know humans are kind of, let's say, very, very lazy in those movies, if I remember correctly. I think they, pretty much just move around on some kind of hover devices. They don't even walk around. Why is the Grinch D? I would move it up. Favorite, really? Now, in the household, or do your kids love that movie? I'll explain why Grinch is D tier. So first off, here's a little comment for all the Grinch movies. So I mentioned this earlier. There was the original holiday special Grinch, the hand animated one that was directly the Dr. Seuss kind of animations or art style, and I never really grew up with that. But I think the people who grew up with that didn't really care for the Jim Carrey movie. I grew up with the Jim Carrey movie and I loved it. If we were doing a Christmas movie ranking, the Dr. Seuss How the Grinch Stole Christmas would be. S tier for me, that's one of my favorite Christmas movies. Plus, I really like Jim Carrey and stuff. So, just a fun, magical movie. So, the animated Grinch, the one that came out just a few years ago, I was hopeful. I thought, okay, this could be a fun movie. I liked the animation style. I thought that looked good. But I just felt like it did not have a very strong narrative, and it had some conflicting tones. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember half of it was kind of kind of goofy, sort of fun, maybe kid-friendly kind of stuff. And then I just remember the one scene where like Cindy Lou Who like walks in and her mom is like depressed in this sort of dark kitchen by herself and just kind of, head over. And I just felt like that wasn't the right movie to tell that kind of story, because it was like, this is supposed to be this whimsical, like, magical kind of fantasy world. And it had this, sort of conflicting somber tone, and it felt kind of forced. It didn't feel like it was trying to, like help you sympathize with the character. It felt like it was trying to make you feel sorry for the character so that, the movie could have some weight, but it just didn't feel like the right, property for that kind of, I don't know. For me, there was conflicting tones. So for me, I'd say, that's why it's a D tier. Now, kids might still like it, fun animated film. It might be higher, but, again, everyone's personal tier list might be a little different. We're sort of voting on these, and then I'm kind of, these are, I'm sort of kind of guiding where these end up at. Let's see. Christopher says B for, was that for Sword in the Stone? We'll grab that one real quick. And then I don't think I ever saw a Heavy Metal, but I know what you're talking about. There's a movie called Heavy Metal, and it was very dark. Could go anywhere on the list. So, yes, I imagine that's a movie that, like just from the concept of it, that's probably a movie that some people probably love it, and some people are probably like, what is this? Let's see, Sword in the Stone. Adria, have you got any suggestions? Any favorite animated movies or any rough? Again, we don't have a whole lot of room left in our S and A tier, and there's plenty of S and A tier movies to go. There's like more classic Disney that we haven't even gotten into, and other really good animated films. What else we got here? We haven't even got a whole lot of Pixar. That alone, like we don't even have Monsters Inc. or Toy Story on here, and pretty much both of those, and pretty much all the Toy Story sequels are either like A or S tier. Sword in the Stone, and I think we're gonna put this B tier. I'm not sure that I've seen this whole movie, or I haven't seen it in a long time. But based off of Christopher's suggestion, we're going to rank this B tier. Here we go. Let's see. Probably the hardest thing. Oh, whoops. Well, oh well. Forgot to lock that. But probably the hardest thing about these lists, probably the reason we have so many good films is because I think the good films are the memorable ones, like if you enjoyed a movie, you're going to remember it, and if you don't enjoy a movie, you're probably not going to remember it much, and what you do remember of it, you probably don't remember detailed enough. But Jack says, I've really enjoyed this stream, but I have to go make a call now. Thanks, Quincy. We'll catch you in the next one. Hey, thanks, Jack. Appreciate it. If you'd like, we'll do another tier list maybe in a few weeks from here. But I stream every Thursday at 6 o'clock. We'll have a different segment. I think next week is going to be the songwriting segment. But if you have any suggestions for what tier list you'd like to do next, definitely leave a comment either on this video later or another video or something. But definitely would love to hear y'all's suggestions for what tier lists we can do in the future. Yes, Adria, we do have How to Train a Dragon. We've actually got that A tier right there. So we've got that one. Jack earlier had mentioned that he thought the sequel the sequel was a little disappointing. We don't have it on here, but the sequel might be ranked more like B or C tier. Yep. Sounds like you found it. Let's see. Drawing a blank. Yeah. You know what? Again, this is my first time doing a tier list, so in the future, I'll be a little more prepared. But next time, what I'll do is I'll have to have a list kind of made so that if we need suggestions, I can bring them up. But I definitely wanted to give you guys an opportunity to make. Adria says yes, makes sense. We love them all. Yep, definitely good stuff to enjoy. I don't know if you're saying you love all the Grinches or if you were commenting when I would mention the Toy Stories earlier. But either way, they're all enjoyable. And that's the thing, movies, people can have different experiences with it. We were actually talking about this earlier. What might resonate with me might not necessarily resonate with you, or what I might connect with. What's S tier for me might only be B tier for you, and vice versa. And it's just interesting how people kind of connect with things differently. And some of these movies, it can be personal things. Sometimes it's like, oh, well, this was a movie I grew up with, so it's kind of special to me. Or this is a movie that reminds me of somebody I care about, and like a sibling or just a loved one of some sort. And so there can be sort of like personal attachment to certain movies or stories, and that's why they can be so special to us. Yeah, I'm having trouble thinking of any like lesser movies. Again, we mentioned like a lot of the Disney sequels, or a lot of the like straight to DVD sequels. A lot of those would definitely go like D tier or below. But even I'm not even sure how many of those I've seen. So I think it's only the good ones. I tell you what, I'll go ahead and play a song for you guys while we are. Yeah, well, if y'all have any other suggestions, Moana, I haven't seen Moana, but I think that's a good suggestion. Where would you rank that one? Yeah, go ahead and if y'all have any suggestions, feel free to make them, and let me know where you would place it on the tier list. So Adria just mentioned Moana. Where would you rank that on the list? And yeah, anyone else, if you have any suggestions, please go ahead and make them. I'm going to go ahead and perform a song. Let's see here. Yep. All right, this song's for you. It's called For You. I know you've coped with this loneliness. You think you're okay, but you've been tricked. I'm out here pleading, but you can't hear me. Your silent screams are deafening. Well, ignore my warning, just know that I'm sorry for you. And all this time, just know that I've tried for you. Come back to me. I thought I was different. You made me like them. Begged you to hold on, but you still let go. And from the distance, I can see what's missing. You never listen, so you'll never know. Well, ignore my warning, just know that I'm sorry for you. And all this time, just know that I've tried for you. Come back to me. Come back to me. Come back to me. Come back to me. You're my closest friend and my deepest wound. My most painful scar, and I cherished you. Thanks. So that song is called For You, and that one is available on streaming, Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. So, yep, you can find that song there. Man, sorry, I kind of bombed that solo. I wouldn't do this in a normal show, but let me see if I can. Have some redemption and play that solo better. Let's give this a shot. Don't know what happened. The muscle memory wasn't kicking in. Still a little rough, but, at least I hit more of the notes. All right. Adria says, Moana, A for me. So, let's see here. I will search for Moana. And I think we got just enough room to squeeze that into A tier. Trying to find, there we go. Yeah, trying to find the movie cover for it. Yeah, again, there's probably a lot of animated films I need to catch up on, so Moana is one of them. I've certainly heard of it, but yeah, I still have yet to see it. So I'll add that one to the watch list as well. Thankfully, I do think we have Disney Plus, so, I just need to get on there someday. Some weeks are busy. Don't always have time to watch movies in the evening. And when I do have time to watch a movie, as great as these are, a lot of times it just depends on what I'm in the mood for. I go through phases, so sometimes I'll be in the mood for animated movies. Sometimes I'll be in the mood for a show. Most of the time, I'm probably going to be in the mood for action movie. Oh, sorry. All right. So here's the thing I keep forgetting. So I get back on here, and then I keep forgetting to set it up so that you guys can see it. But up there at the top, in the top right corner, right there, we got Moana. So, awesome. Well, I think if y'all have any more suggestions, we'll try to do a little bit more. But I do think I'm going to play maybe one more song for you guys, and then we will call this a wrap on the stream. So if anyone has any final suggestions for movies, please let me know. And then another thing I'll ask is, so again, with each of these streams, I'm kind of trying to do a different segment. And so this is just a tier list segment. So if we were to do this again, what do you think a fun tier list would be? I definitely have some ideas. If we didn't do animated movies, we might have done action movies. So that'd be another one. It doesn't have to be movies, though. Obviously, it'd be fun to do some music-related stuff. So it could be, early 2000s bands or something like that. It could be album artwork. I thought that would be a fun one. And I thought that'd be a cool one because even if you haven't listened to the album, we can all just kind of vote based on what we think of the artwork or the photography or whatever it might be. So I thought that'd be a good one. We could do guitar brands or there's a lot of different subjects you can make tier lists for. So if y'all have any suggestions of what tier list you'd like to see in the future, let me know. Let's see here. All right, cool. Yep, there's that. Now, as far as next week goes, next week's stream, I believe we're going to have a songwriting session. So I don't know if you guys were all at the last one. We did this a few weeks ago. We had a songwriting session and where we sat down and we wrote a song together. And it was my first time doing that. So again, kind of a new segment, but it was a lot of fun. I kind of came up with a pretty cool idea and stuff. So keep that in mind. That's what's going to be for next week's stream. We're going to be writing a song together. So definitely stay tuned if you want to be a part of that. But yeah, I think I'm going to play one more song for you guys. If y'all have any final suggestions for movies, let me know and we'll rank them. Oh, thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. Yeah, kind of stumbled the first time through it, but you just got to keep going. So glad it wasn't like super noticeable. But yeah, if y'all have any final suggestions for what movies you'd like to add to this list, let me know. If y'all have any suggestions for future tier lists, leave a comment on what you think would be good. I definitely appreciate your ideas. I got one more song. Thanks for tuning into this stream. It's been a lot of fun. I thought this was fun. I'd like to hear your feedback. What did you guys think of this? I know some of you are kind of tuning in a little bit later, so you're kind of getting the back end of it. But those of you who were here earlier, I thought it was fun, kind of just picking movies and sort of talking about them, reflecting on them. That was kind of the fun of it. Not just ranking them, but kind of sharing our memories and sort of talking about them. So that's kind of the idea. These are more of things to just have fun talking about. It's not so much about making a list. It's just like, hey, let's just have fun talking about some movies. Oh, here was a good one that we all liked, and oh, here's one that that one was rough. That was hard to get through. And kind of just sharing our points of view and why we would rank it, where we would rank it on the list and stuff. So, yep, I've got one more song I'm going to play for you guys, and then we're all going to have to move on from here. So that's what this song is about. This song is called Move On. But yes, let me know if y'all have any ideas or suggestions for future segments. We'll certainly do movies again, but again, it could be anything. You can do a tier list for anything. And next week, we'll be writing a song, so be sure to stay around for that. All right, this one goes out to all of you. This one's called Move On. You're blind to your progress. Oh! See how far you've come. Stay strong. You can move on, so move on. See how far you've come. Stay strong. You can move on, so move on. Taste and see this bitter memory. You once were so weak, but now you've been set free. Yeah! See how far you've come. Stay strong. You can move on, so move on. See how far you've come. Stay strong. You can move on, so move on. So move on. When you find yourself at the end of your road, you know it's not over. When you find yourself at the end of your road, you know it's not over. You've been down this road more than once before, and it won't stop you this time. No! Come, stay strong. You can move on, so move on. See how far you've come. Stay strong. You can move on. Thank you. Again, that song is called Move On, and that one is available on streaming, Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. So definitely be sure to check that one out if you haven't already. All right, well, guys, thanks for tuning in. I know some of y'all were a little late to the party, and sorry about that. I don't know if y'all have any last suggestions, but I do think we are going to wrap things up. So again, we'll do this again in the future, that's for sure. But I real quick, before we do wrap up, again, I'm trying to kind of get better at managing this stuff. But again, I do appreciate you all, and so I do want to check in and see how you're all doing. I appreciate Jack tuning in. I think he was kind of a new watcher here. Adria, I always appreciate you watching. How have you been? How are things going? Have you had a pretty good week? I certainly hope so. Christopher, I always appreciate you tuning in. And what about yourself? How are things coming along with guitar? And how have you been? Stanley, always appreciate you tuning in. And so I hope you all have been doing well. Oh, that's a great suggestion right there. So Adria says, that's such a cool song. Thank you. I appreciate that. And you're very welcome. Zootopia, Lego Movie, everyone is sick of it, but we still love Frozen. Yeah. So a couple things. So Zootopia is great. Yeah, I'd probably put Zootopia on S tier. That is a great animated film. I don't think we have room on our list here. I can try to squeeze that in. But, yeah, real quick, let's see. Zootopia. Yeah, Zootopia is just such a fun, whodunit detective movie, and such great characters. It's kind of a good buddy cop movie. You've got this kind of by the books cop, and then sort of being forced to team up with sort of this kind of sly fox, like a literal sly fox. Just kind of bends the rules a little bit, kind of does a lot of things under the table, and they just make for such a fun dynamic duo, and but again, kind of like a really good story. Again, this is one of those good stories wrapped up in like a kids movie. Yes, it's fun for kids. It's got cute characters and all that stuff, but as far as the depth of the story and the quality and the pacing of the movie, it's just such a fun movie and so well performed, great lines, really funny scenes, and again, a lot of stuff that that you can really appreciate as an adult. It's not just silly. There's so many fun jokes, like the sloths working at the DMV, that's really funny. As an adult, you get that, that's something that just kind of you can relate to, and I thought the I thought the nudist colony was really funny because they're just animals without clothes on, which is what animals always look like. But so it's not inappropriate, but just understanding as an adult what that's supposed to be. It's actually like a really funny concept, and so yeah, just great characters and good story and great character arcs. I like how their friendship kind of develops. At first, they're sort of forced into working together, and then they end up kind of becoming friends. And the Fox character, I'm drawing a blank on their names right now, but the Fox character kind of sticking up for the rabbit, and because she kind of takes on this case, and it's like pretty much no one's giving her a chance, and she's doing like the best she can and making really good progress in spite of everyone working against her, and so I don't know, such a great film. Yeah, the sloths are hilarious. Lego Movie was solid. I mean, I grew up with Legos. I love them. To be honest, I need to see it again. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember quite enjoying it. Really cool animation style, some really fun humor, based on them being Lego. I love it when the humor integrates well with who the characters are and stuff. So the way they move, everything, they play off of the idea that their heads only move left and right, and their arms up and down and stuff. And yeah, I just remember that movie being a fun one to see in theaters. And great character performances. I would say I think that's a solid. I'd only seen it once. I remember really enjoying it, so I'm going to throw it up on A tier. It's possible it might be more like B tier, but like I could imagine it being a B tier movie. But I remember really liking it, and I remember being quite good. So I'm going to say A tier for this one. But I got to watch it again. I haven't seen this movie in quite some time. But I definitely, I love Legos. I still love them. I'd actually, one day when I have a house of my own, I'd like to have I'd actually love to have a display of a little Lego city. Not a little Lego city, like a big Lego city, just a bunch of different buildings and different facilities and a bunch of little Lego characters, and that'd be a fun thing to have on display. Open season, yeah, would probably be B or C tier. They're fun, yeah, and that's okay. Sometimes some not every movie has to be like a super in depth deep story or something. It's definitely nice when movies have that, but sometimes it's good for a movie just to be like a good fun, enjoyable watch. And again, these other rankings aren't necessarily bad. So yeah, open season, probably like B, maybe C. I'd have to watch it. I can't remember. I think I'd seen it like a long time ago, but it's been a while. But there's some fun characters in that, some good performances. So certainly like a good one to throw on a rainy day or something like that. Chris says, I've been really good, and guitar lines have been fun. That's great. Hoping to get more tips and tricks from you. Well, if you ever have any particular questions about guitar, I don't know if you're working on something right now, that I can certainly do my best to kind of share a little advice, whatever might help. What would you say you're working on right now as far as guitar stuff goes? Cool. What else did we say? Lego movie. Oh, yeah, and then Frozen. Actually, Adria, earlier we were talking. So the first Frozen, I'd probably give it maybe. I mean, for me, it's probably more like C tier, but it's a pretty, just because I'm not the target audience for that movie. But it's probably more like B tier. I think it was a pretty solid movie. Obviously, the song "Let It Go," was such a big hit. I personally, wasn't that impressed with the song, but I kind of understand why it was such a big hit. But you can see we do have Frozen 2 on our D list here. And there was a story behind that. I'll tell it again since you weren't here to hear it earlier. But my brother wanted to go see that movie when it came out, but he didn't want to go see it by himself. So I went to theaters to see it with him. And so I'm sitting there in theaters and, watching the movie, and, it is what it is. But I knew that the first movie had Let It Go, that was like the big song. So I knew this movie was going to have like a big number in it just like that. And sure enough, the scene came on for it. And she starts singing Into the Unknown. And I'm kind of listening to it and sort of kind of padding along on my lap. And this thought pops in my head. I sort of thought, this could be a metal song. And then I thought, no, I don't want to do that. That's going to be gimmicky. I don't want to, and I don't really like doing covers. Like I don't want to do a cover of a metal song for this. But then I thought, well, this is like a relevant movie. It just came out. Maybe I should at least give it a try. And if I like my idea, my version of it, then maybe I'll go through with it. And so sure enough, that's what I did. I got home and started kind of working on a demo. Kind of pulled up the song on YouTube and just kind of started trying to translate it onto guitar, kind of listening to some of the movements and trying to turn them into riffs. And I made a little demo and kind of listening through it, I was like, this actually sounds pretty cool. Maybe this is worth doing. So I decided to go through with it. And sure enough, I did do a metal cover of the song Into the Unknown. Now, to be honest, I like my version better than the original song. And I don't mean that to sound egotistical. It's just like, the original version, I think the arrangement's a little all over the place. It just feels like it takes forever to get to the chorus, and you just don't know where you're at in the song, and it's kind of hard to, kind of a hard song to enjoy. Like, the more you listen to it, the more familiar you get, you start to understand the arrangement. But the nice thing about metal is you can kind of be more dynamic. You can kind of bring in and out other instruments, and you can sort of change the way you're playing it. You know, it's not like you're just playing it the same way the whole time. You know, you can kind of have like kind of fast sections and slower sections and things like that. And so I do think it works pretty well as a metal song, but the song itself, you know, wasn't the biggest fan of. And the movie was kind of, you know, it wasn't necessarily bad, but you know, it was just kind of a mess. You know, I think it had trouble telling like a cohesive story. And so yeah, ended up ranking that. But, and so earlier I did play my cover of Into the Unknown, so I did perform that one earlier. But so yeah, so that was kind of one thing that came out of that. But yeah, the first Frozen for me, I'd probably put that like C tier or something like that. But it might be B tier. You know, I know it's not like not a bad movie. Certainly an enjoyable family film. Again, I've got nieces who certainly love that movie. So. All right. Well, guys, I definitely appreciate you all tuning in. Let's see here. Adria's saying, cool. We'll listen to... Oh, have you not heard it yet? Yeah. Yes, definitely love-hate relationship with Frozen 2. It was over when Kristoff started singing. Only the original Lego movie is good. Yeah, I don't think I'd seen the second Lego movie. I did see the Lego Batman movie, and I remember Batman being such a fun character in the first movie. This was something we talked about too. Side characters. A lot of times what will happen is sometimes a movie will have a great side character, and then they'll make a movie just about the side character, and it's not quite as good. You know, that character just works better as a side character, you know, as someone for the protagonist to interact with, but not necessarily a character for the story to follow. So that was kind of the same thing with Batman. Now, I don't think the Batman movie was a bad movie. You know, probably... If I was being nice, maybe B tier, but it's probably more like a C tier movie. But we were talking about this earlier. You can see we've got Emperor's New Groove on S tier. That's a great movie. And Krunk is such a great character. But they did make a sequel with Krunk's New Groove. And even though Krunk is a great side character, he's not necessarily the best character to follow for a narrative, you know, for a story. And so, yeah, Krunk's New Groove was a little rough. Had a few good parts, but kind of a rough sequel. And it's, you know, this isn't an animated film, but it's the same thing with the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. The first Pirates of the Caribbean, Jack Sparrow is such a great character, but the later movies kind of followed him more, and he's not really the best character to have as a protagonist. He's an excellent, you know, S-tier side character, but not really the best protagonist. And so, yeah, a lot of sequels kind of have that mistake. I'd like to know my bends I'm having trouble with. Now, I don't know if you meant bends, like string bends. I can talk a little bit about... I'll do a couple things here, and then I'll have to wrap it up. So one, I'll talk about string bends real quick. And two, Adria, since you haven't heard my cover yet, I'll play it again. I'll play it again for you. Having trouble with palm mutes. All right, let me see if I can explain this real quick. So I'm going to bring the full view back just a second here. All right, string bends and palm mutes. Let's talk about that real quick. Let's start with palm mutes. So you can play palm mutes, you know, with pretty much any technique. So whatever chord or note you're playing, let's just start with a single note. Let's just say I'm playing a note, and I want to palm mute that note. So really all you're doing is, as you're picking, you're resting your palm on the string, but you're trying to find that spot where it meets the bridge. So if you're too far up, you're just going to mute it. And if you're too far back, you're not going to get much. There we're starting to get it. You can kind of adjust it. So I'm going to start far back, and I'm going to get further up the neck. So here's far back. So I'm not even touching the string. And then listen. Oh, 1 second. Had a little glitch. Okay, so when I start touching the string, you get that kind of muted sound. And then if you go up a little further, you get kind of a tighter sound. And there's different scenarios where you might use each one. Now that's just a single note, so sometimes you might play like, yeah, just like a grouping of notes. And you can kind of palm mute them, rather than you can palm mute those notes. So you do have to kind of adjust the way you're holding your pick. You've got to open up your hand, kind of let your fingers out, and you're still pointing your pick like that. You know, you want your pick to be above the string, just like that, you know, flat. But then you've got to stretch your hand as best you can to kind of let the palm almost go as vertical as you can get it. So you can kind of push your thumb into your pick to sort of counteract. So I'll come a little closer. So yeah, if you can, so that's the way your pick is, you know, when you're playing. Now I actually hold my pick kind of weird. I hold it like that, but you know, if you're holding it properly, you hold it like that. And right now our palm is kind of going like at that angle. It's not vertical. So to get it more vertical, you can kind of push your thumb like that, and then there you go. You can, if you push your thumb like that, and then you counteract, you get that pick horizontal again. Now our palm is pointing even more downwards. So we're getting, it's not quite vertical, but you know, it's definitely better. So hopefully you could, yeah, see that well, yeah. Don't know if I had like the best angle on the camera. So yeah, so you just kind of let that, you can practice the notes or the strings individually. You do kind of have to let that palm just kind of slide on the strings as you're adjusting. And then now as far as like chords go, so if you're playing like a power chord, again, same technique, and you just want to let that palm just rest across as many of the strings as you can while kind of extending your thumb and kind of reaching up with that pick. And I just say, just practice some simple like, just dum, you know. And most of the time, if you're playing chords, you're almost always going to down strum. That's not entirely true, but I'd say most of the time, you know, that's what you want to work on is those down picks. Just down, 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 and then. And then you can practice switching. You can practice hitting an open chord and then a palm muted chord. Just to kind of get used to the feel of like palm muting and letting off. And then you could try like 2 palm mutes and 1 strum. Like 1, 2, 3. You can just make up like little patterns like that to practice the technique. And then it's the same thing if you're playing like regular chords, you know, just trying to get your palm resting across as many strings as you can to mute the strings, but they'll still get a note if you can strum. So it's a little bit of requires a little bit of dexterity in your hand. Because again, you're having to spread those fingers out, just trying to open your fingers as best you can to get this palm to kind of rest alongside the bridge as best you can. And then you're sort of stretching out your thumb as best you can to kind of, you know, move it around as you're playing on those strings. So, I mean, hopefully that kind of gives you some tips. As far as string bends go, you kind of have to, you got to use your ear a little bit with string bends. So you're trying to match the note of the next fret. So let's say I hit a note. I'm going to play the 5th fret here on the 2nd string. All right. So if I string bend, the pitch is going to go up, and I want to try to match that half step. So I want it to sound like that note. Now, for some strings, especially if you're lower, you're going to have to bend it a lot. So again, we're kind of getting... In fact, that's a good exercise right there. You could pick it first, and then do the string bend, and try to match that same tone as best you can, that same pitch. Now, one other thing I'm doing, as I'm playing, I'm actually using my hand and letting my fingers rest on the strings that I'm not playing. Because if I don't do that, you know, I could accidentally brush something and kind of get all this like extra noise. So a lot of times the strings that I'm not playing, I'll kind of let my fingers rest on those strings, and then yeah, just trying to focus on isolating that one note as best I can. I'm gonna go up a little higher. Let's say we do like the 12th fret on the next string. Oh, same note. Yep, so again, you could do the half step and then do the string bend. Now that one doesn't require quite as much bend. So just back and forth. Pick, bend. Pick, bend. All right, so that's a half step. Then the next one's going to be a whole step. Okay, so rather than just going up to the next note, we're going to go up to the next two notes. That note right there. And you can do that same little exercise. Pick first, and then bend. And you're going to have to bend a lot. And so that can kind of help you get a feel for, you know, for being able to bend them. And then that's one way to do it. And then, of course, you can string bend to sort of like just add vibrato. Like you can hit a note, and as it's ringing out, you can just kind of give that note a little wiggle. You know, and that kind of adds some character to it. There's other techniques for string bend, like you can bend up if you do something like so that's the beginning of the solo for Move On. So the chord I'm playing there, I'm playing my pointer finger on the 12th fret of the 4th string down. And again, I'm in drop C, just so y'all know. And then my middle finger on the 13th fret of the 5th string down. So those two notes. So I strum them as a chord, just picking those two strings. And you have to leave your middle finger in place, but you bend, you point your pointer finger up, you straighten it. And I'm trying to get it to go to that pitch. So you get kind of a bluesy sort of thing. So you can bend up and strum, and then bend back down, kind of like that. And then a lot of times I'll hit a note, and I'll add that vibrato, and then do a bend. So there's a bend there. I bend, going to that note, and then down. So a lot of string bending there. So that's kind of a nice little example of how to use string bending in your playing. So hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully that clears up a few things. There's a few tips for you guitarists out there. So let's see. Oh, cool. Great question, Chris. Sometimes it's hard to reach the picking while palm muting. Yep. I see you're laying your pinky down over the strings as well. Cool. I'll try to open up more. Yep. That's kind of what I have going on. Just opening up those fingers, as I'm doing it. So rather than, if you keep your hand closed and you're trying to palm mute, it's going to be a lot harder than just when you splay those fingers out, Cool. You might have to go. So I'll ask you about string gauges later. Well, definitely ask me later. Do you have time for a song? If you have time, I'll play my cover of Into the Unknown for you. If you don't have time, then I'll just let you look it up on your own. But if you have time, I'll play that song for you real quick. If not, then we will go ahead and wrap up this stream here. But I do appreciate you all tuning in. And I know both of you play guitar, so hopefully that kind of gives you guys some tips on some fun techniques that you can use in your own playing. And just kind of put in the practice. Be patient, and in time, you'll get better at it. I can quickly comment about string gauges. I don't know if you have. Oh, you do have time. Okay, cool. Well, all right. I'm not gonna. All right, we'll talk about string gauges later. So here we go. All right. So yes, this is my version of Into the Unknown. This is my cover. And you might have to check out the music video too. I did make it's more of a playthrough video, but I kind of had some fun with it. So you'll have to check out the video I made for this song when I released it. But here we go. This is my cover of Into the Unknown from Frozen 2. Enjoy. I can hear you, but I won't. Some look for trouble, while others don't. There's 1,000 reasons I should go about my day and ignore your whispers, which I wish would go away. Oh. Whoa. You're not a voice, you're just a ringing in my ear. And if I heard you, which I don't, I'm spoken for, I fear. Everyone I've ever loved is here within these walls. I'm sorry, secret siren, but I'm blocking out your calls. I've had my adventure, and I don't need something new. I'm afraid of what I'm risking if I follow you into the unknown. Into the unknown. Into the unknown. What do you want? 'Cause you've been keeping me awake. Are you here to distract me so I make a big mistake? Or are you someone out there who's a little bit like me? Who knows deep down I'm not where I'm meant to be? Every day's a little harder as I feel my power grow. Don't you know there's part of me that longs to go into the unknown, into the unknown, into the unknown. Whoa, are you out there? Do you know me? Can you feel me? Can you show me? Whoa. Where are you going? Don't leave me alone. How do I follow you into the unknown? Yep, so there you go. And that one is available on Spotify and Apple Music and all that stuff. And so yeah, that was my cover, or my version of Into the Unknown. So yeah, we'll see. Well, I hope your daughter likes it. I don't know what she'll think of my version. Thank you for your help. Yeah, my pleasure, Christopher. I hope that helps out. But everyone, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate you all watching. For anyone watching now or on the replay, thank you so much. If you'd like to support me, there's a link in the description to a virtual tip jar, and I appreciate that. That helps me to keep doing what I'm doing and to eventually bring you bigger and better content, and so I do appreciate your support. If you don't have the financial means to support me, my biggest goal right now is building an audience, so you can help me do that by sharing my content, sharing my music, liking the videos, subscribing to the channel, leaving comments. All that stuff really helps. And probably most importantly is signing up for my email list. There's a link in the description. And when you sign up, this allows me to notify you whenever I have a new song release, whenever I have new videos, content, that kind of stuff. I can keep you posted on my latest releases and all that stuff. So definitely sign up for my email list. Link in the description. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Adria, Christopher, anyone else watching, Stan, Jack from earlier, Daniel, all of you who tuned in. Dom, I definitely appreciate you guys tuning in. And yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening or morning, afternoon, night, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. Until next time.